Alrighty, guys, we're back for Crime Mill, and this is an Outlaws of Thunder Junction standard brew, and I'm Red Cat. Let's briefly go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked. But first things first, this was a suggestion over in the Discord, so thank you so much for the suggestion. It's gonna be a fun one. It was essentially to try out Dimir Mill, so that's what we're gonna do today. We got 4 Deepmuck Desperados. Oh, buddy. Yeah, 2 mill decks, 2 days in a row. What on earth? I must be having fun, right? Yeah, this one's also rocking all 4 Desperados. It's a 3 mana, 2/4. Whenever you commit a crime, each opponent mills 3 cards. This ability triggers only once each turn, though. So ideally, you want to commit a crime on your turn, and then you want to commit a crime on the opponent's turn too to maximize the amount of mill that you're getting out of Desperado. And I gotta be real with you, once you start getting a couple of these or more on the board, that mill happens pretty darn fast. So other mill cards, of course, we got Jace Perfected Mind as a 4 of in here. It's going to help us commit crimes consistently on our turn too, so that's going to be nice. So what kind of crime creatures do we have in here, or what kind of creatures care about us committing crimes, right? We got Lazav, Familiar Stranger. It's a 3 mana, 1/4 legendary creature. That's going to be important. Whenever you commit a crime, it gets a +1/+1 counter. Then you can exile a card from a graveyard. If a creature card was exiled this way, you can have Lazav become a copy of that card until end of turn. This ability triggers only once each turn. That's super interesting. Yeah, I wonder how much it's actually going to do today. We also have Vadmir New Blood. It's a 2 mana, 2/2 legendary creature. Now, whenever you commit a crime, put a +1/+1 counter on Vadmir New Blood. This ability triggers only once each turn, however, of course, right? Now, as long as Vadmir has 4 or more +1/+1 counters on it, it has Menace and Lifelink too. It honestly looks like a pretty good creature, and I don't think it's going to be unheard of to get 4 or more +1/+1 counters on it. I think it actually is going to be a little bit easy, especially in this list. We'll go over more of the things that help us commit crimes here in just a second. Let's finish going over like the rest of our legendary creatures and whatnot. We have a couple Tinybones, the Pickpocket, a 1 mana 1/1 Death Touch legendary creature. Now when it deals combat damage to a player, you may target a non-land permanent card from a player's graveyard, and mana of any type can be spent to cast that spell. So we're stocking up the opponent's graveyard and then potentially casting stuff out of the opponent's graveyard with Tinybones. That sounds cool. Tinybones Joins Up, helping us commit more crimes. Now when it ETBs any number of target players, each discard a card. Okay. Whenever a legendary creature enters the battlefield under your control, any number of target players each mill a card and lose 1 life as well. Cool. Now here at the front of the build, we have a whole bunch of spot removal. And honestly, guys, the spot removal that I chose could totally just be your spot removal of choice. That's totally fine. But I opted for 3 cut downs, so we got a couple bitter triumphs. We got 2 go for the throats and a couple shoot the sheriffs as well. We'll see how much we actually miss with shoot the sheriff today, but essentially destroy target non-outlaw creature. Outlaws are assassins, mercenaries, pirates, rogues, and warlocks. Yeah, interested to see how much it's going to hit and how much it's going to miss. Now we do have more ways to commit crimes. We have outrageous robbery, also kind of helping us mill the opponent, kind of, sort of, right? Also fitting like the Tinybones theme too, where we're casting stuff out of the opponent's deck. We have Cruel Somnophage here too. It's just a pretty cool creature, but also has that adventure side that targets a player and mills them 4 cards. So another way to commit crimes and more mill packed in. A little bit of ramp with Celestus into this top end where we got a couple deadly cover-ups, also helping us grab stuff out of the opponent's deck. Could come in handy, but also just like board wipes in general is going to be good. We have Gisa the Hellraiser on the top end as a 1/2. I think it's going to be terrific in here. And then the very top end, we have Breach the Multiverse. Now, we don't have too many lands packed in, only 25 total with that ramp on Celestus as well. But this is very much the kind of deck that wants to get into that late game anyways. And at that point, I don't think it's going to be too hard to have 7 mana on the board with just 25 total. Honorable mentions, looks like I had a March of the Wretched Sorrow over here, probably to remind myself that your choice of spot removal, based on what you're seeing in your meta, is totally fine. Just go ahead and trade out whatever you don't like as far as spot removal goes. Oh, in the mana base, guys, we also have all 4 Restless Reefs. We do have all 4 Soured Springs too to help us commit more crimes, and the Restless Reef obviously helping us mill. So that's a lot of tap land. It is. Also, Demolition Field is going to be a good one to help us commit more crimes, but then also we might have trouble with certain restless lands and whatnot too. Heavily leaning towards the swamps because that is what the deck is leaning towards. Okay, guys, let's go ahead. save the more in-depth discussion for the end of the video. In the meantime, let's go ahead, take this into some ranked and see how we do. I got lost in the menus. Well, we'll see if we can get right into the first one here. So what am I expecting from the build? Okay. So I played some test games with a little bit of a different version of the list, and it was really, really slow, and it's definitely the land's fault. So what I ended up doing was I added even more spot removal, so that way we can kind of survive the early game a little bit longer, because I didn't want to drop a lot of this tap land. There's a little bit of a different version of the deck for those test games. Actually just going to get the tapped land down instead of Tinybones. How do you guys feel about that? I think that's totally fine. Denick, okay. Denick doesn't care too much about our spot removal, as they eventually just bring it back for Disturb. So we're going to just stay on track, get the tap land down. Now we go turn 2 Tinybones. And Tinybones blocks really well, since it has the death touch, but I don't think we want to block necessarily. Maybe. Raffine is going to be a little bit of a problem with that ward cost, huh? Yeah, we'll block, because that Denick being a 3/4 is probably pretty bad. Although it would be pretty cool. It would be pretty cool. Yeah, never mind. We'll just block that. Also, if they play like Denick number 2, that could be an issue while Tinybones is on the board too. Because cards in graveyards can't be targets of spells and abilities, and I believe Tinybones says target, right? You may cast target non-land permanent. Yeah, so that could have been, that was a good trade. That could have been a little bit sticky overall. Okay, we do have the 3 for the Raffine. While the opponent's tapped out, we're gonna do this. Look at us, man. Raffine's not an outlaw. Easy peasy. 3 mana for 3 mana. That's a good hit for us, especially since the second Raffine is in the graveyard too. Nothing from the opponent. Alright, we definitely play the Abandoned Mire as land. We could attempt the Jace. Odds of counterspell. We're going for it. I see no reason to play around a counterspell at this point. Hopefully we see mana off the top, though. No more lies. You monster. How could you? I never saw this coming. Oh, land. All right. It's tapped land, but I don't mind seeing it. And we have the Bitter Triumph open, too. Wandering Emperor turn. Oh, Virtue. Okay. So if we end up killing something with the Bitter, we're probably going to just take the 3 damage. I think we're going to need everything in hand. Deadly Cover-Up's going to be really good, probably. I think Esper knows how to re-establish their board state really nicely. Keeping 5 open. I'm going to save the Bitter Triumph for something a little better, I think. Especially since we already took the 2 damage there, too. Outrageous Robbery is instant speed. We could keep that. We could try the Gisa. Memorialize number 2. With them keeping that open, they didn't even swing with Restless Anchorage. They didn't play Denick. They had so much they could have done. Virtue of Loyalty. Whatever we want to do here probably doesn't land, I would say. We could just keep the Outrageous Robbery open for their turn. That's probably the best bet since it is an instant speed thing, huh? Let's see what they end up doing, because they might... Okay, so it was nothing. So I bet it was just them keeping open a counterspell, right? I think so. Yep, we're going to take the 2. We're going to attempt just X's 3 on the Robbery here. They're going to play Denick. They still have 3 open. Denick number 2. Alright. X is 3, and we'll see if they let us have this. Target opponent. The hand is a little messy right now, I would say. No more lies. Okay, now we get the Gisa onto the board while we can. Although Deadly Cover-Up isn't too bad, is it? Collect evidence 6, though. We don't have the evidence for now. But it could be pretty cool when it comes time to collect evidence and get those Denics out of there, huh? I feel that, opponent. They dropped the like the sweat emote. Yeah, we're gonna go for the Gisa. It has a great ward cost on here too, so spot removal, they would have to take like their entire turn, tap, like go for the throat, tap 4, and take 2. And then once it's in the grave, we'll have the Deadly Cover-Ups evidence, which will be great to take care of the Denics, get those out of the equation. Could be a great turn for Virtue too. Either way, we're going to want to start committing crimes with this Gisa on the board. They are going to pay 4 for the Gisa. Probably worthwhile. They get a great swing. We go down to 12. While they only have 1 mana, yeah, now's the time. Deadly Cover-Up, for sure. And then mana off the top for a little while would totally be fine too. So, evidence 6, right? So there we go. We're going to exile the Denic. Get that out of here. There's their hand, Aclazotes. Wow, that is a pretty devastating last card in the opponent's hand, huh? That is devastating. That's going to be a really good play for them next turn. Spot removal isn't great against Aclazotes is the problem, and they're going to easily... they find more mana. Nice. Deepmuck Desperado. We'll wait for the swing. Comes back transformed, right? Tapped and transformed. So hopefully they don't top deck like a counter spell or something, right? So we'll get Deepmuck Desperado down. Okay. And then pass it and go for the throat does the thing on their turn. Yeah, hopefully they don't top deck something really good here. They go for the swing. Oh, crap. We wanted to do it before the swing. Discards a card. Well, this is awkward. This is very awkward. I guess I'll attempt the spot removal now. We wanted to do it before the swing for sure. I guess I'll discard the Bitter Triumph. Oh, I really don't want to discard anything here, but Breach the Multiverse is 2 away, but I think we're going to need that Breach. I think we're going to desperately need that top end. So hopefully I don't get too punished for losing that. Yeah, losing out on some extra spot removal is pretty bad. Jace is good. I think we're going to go for establishing the Jace. They can power up 2 Restless Anchorage next turn. I guess Jace will die regardless, huh? Let's take the turn, get some extra mill going. We'll get the Somnophage down on the ground. These Restless Anchorages are going to be a problem, and we're definitely... With 25 total mana, I think we're overdue for some, huh? I think we're long overdue. Do we swing, or do we save this for... I guess we swing. I guess you never know. We might not be going for the mill. Raffine. Power up the Aclazotes. It's tapped, luckily. Yeah, with the lifelink, but all the air power, too. Yeah, I think we're in a lot of danger. Oh, yeah, the untap from the Virtue. Dude, we're in trouble. Okay, the 6th mana. Just 1 more mana off the top. We could still commit a crime with Jace. We could just go full power Jace, go for max mill for the turn. Take some pressure off of our face. No, they have lethal then, don't they? Oh, they might have lethal anyways. Wait. 2. They can power up both of these, right? Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They can only power up 1. The other one would be tapped, correct? So let's get the Jace down. Either way, it'd be cool to go max out. We got 1, 3, 7. So we're not dead if we go max mill here. Right? I don't think so. We're banking on just seeing a top card and hoping that the opponent has nothing else. Let's do it. I think like at this point in the match too, I think we're like in a lot of danger regardless. Since they only have air power, we are going to be attacking with our 12-12. Because if we survive the turn, I guess... No, they're going to be gaining a lot on the Aclizotes here too. They only have 11 cards remaining, guys. So, Breach the Multiverse is 10. They do go for the power up here. Rafine can put an extra 3 onto the board. Wait, I miscounted. That's 12 then. If they actually... And we discard the Breach too, because of the Aclizotes. Guys, I wasn't thinking like half of this match, apparently. Well, either way, I think that this is heavily leaning towards the opponent, somewhere in like the middle there. Well, probably the Aclizotes, right? Good game, opponent. So how we wanted to survive the turn then, because for some reason I miscounted just a little bit, but there was also a chance where the opponent didn't have 3 non-land things to sacrifice or to discard to the Connive on the Rafine, but it was also like a really good chance that they would have that too. With no blockers in the air, like 2 incredible misplays lost us that game, right? So 2 things. I want to go over it real quick. We got that Bitter Triumph discard because I didn't remove the Aclizotes before it swung in, which was just a terrible, terrible misplay on my part, right? Because losing that Bitter Triumph was, I mean, we could have used the second Bitter Triumph to get rid of Rafine or the Aclizotes. Guys, don't blame the deck here at all. I actually think we might have won had I had that Bitter Triumph, because we could have done the Bitter Triumph before the Aclizotes swing too. I would have loved to see what was on top of the deck here too. Maybe it was a land. Maybe we would have had the Breach as well. A lot of stuff there to think about. A lot of terrible plays on my fault, dude. I gotta apologize for that. That was particularly bad, huh? Let's do better for the rest of the video here. Yeah, gotta watch out for that Aclizotes. And then when the second Aclizotes, or when it swung the second time, of course we were gonna lose that Breach too. I don't know why I kind of overlooked that discard ability on Aclizotes. I feel like I do that often too. Missing mana for quite some time that game, I would say too. We were stuck at 5 for a lot of turns. So we might want to consider going up to 26 mana. It might be one of those decks, you know? We go first. All right. We'll keep 7. I think this is a totally fine hand. It might be a little slow for now, but luckily we go first. I think we have a great chance of seeing more mana off the top too. Once we get our third, we have a little bit of ramp with the Celestus too. And New Blood is not a bad draw. Get that down. Now, we don't need to see land for a couple turns, but it would be ideal for sure. Oh, heck yeah. All right. All right, so it's going to be Celestus, right? This definitely feels like burn. Let's swing with the New Blood and see what happens, and then we'll get Tinybone down. It is a Sacred Fire, actually. Okay. We go back up to 20 here. Go ahead and get that Tinybones on the board. So Tinybones specifically casts non-land permanents back from the opponent's grave. So if like the opponent's deck is like majority burn spells and stuff, then we might have trouble actually utilizing the Tinybones ability. Oh, we might have trouble utilizing the Tinybones ability if Tinybones dies too. You know, if I'm being honest with you guys. Okay, Restless Reef, so we won't... So it's another turn of no crimes, huh? We're going to get the Lazav down. It's probably good practice to play the cards that care about crimes before the lands, because we do have these Soured Springs too, which helps us commit the crimes then. All right, we do have Cutdown available. I'm not sure how much the Cutdown is actually going to do for us, though, as it definitely feels like it's going to be Boros Burn. We don't see too often, so this could be pretty cool. Opponent is thinking maybe they missed a mana that they desperately needed. And tapped land. Restless Bivouac number 3. Why not, right? Destroy evil. Okay, it's going to be an uphill battle if we don't see some more of our creatures. Oh, Jace. Hi, buddy. The Jace -2. Jace -2 draws us 1 card until they have more in the grave. The burn, like, we don't want the Jace to just be in play with fire range. Maybe we just power up Reef and mill them that way. Yeah, because everything else gets picked up by burn anyways, right? Let's get that swing. Have the mill. We kind of just like wait a little while, because this 1 mana isn't going to hit a 4/4. Unless it's something incredible that I'm not thinking of, but... oh, yeah, Elspeth Smite doesn't hit a 4/4. Yeah. Restless Reef is safe against that 1 mana, as far as I can tell. Union of the Third Path. There's the Elspeth Smite, huh? I bet that's what was holding too. Definitely take this action. Breach the Multiverse. Maybe we'll actually get to 7 mana this time. Let's go ahead and get rid of the Cutdown. Not sure how much it's going to do. Cutdown does hit Bivouac when they power that up, but I think everything else in hand is just better to keep. Like, I don't want to get rid of Bitter Triumph, you know, so 3 open, Brotherhood's End in the grave. Oh, Brotherhood's End in the exile from the Reckless Impulse here. And Lightning Helix as well, so they're probably going to keep that all open. Okay, mana off the top. We don't mind seeing it here at all. Still just go for the mill. So they could double down on the Restless Reef. If we lose the Reef, we're going to be an extra turn away from the Breach the Multiverse. Also nighttime too. Yeah, if they double down, they go Lightning Helix and an Elspeth Smite. We lose our land. We can't swing with Reef this turn, I would say, or we can't do it safely. We're gonna take the turn for the Jace and just go plus and see if they sink some burn into the Jace. And we still have Bitter Triumph open too, because if we go -2, they just go Lightning Helix onto the Jace. So we just we get it out of the burn range. So submit 0 here. And they power up Restless Bivouac to swing at the Jace too. Okay, they are going to go Lightning Helix. Brings it down a little bit. If they burn it next turn. Oh, Brotherhood's End. Was that still the play for the turn, though? Like, it's either lose the Reef. Oh, I guess we could have just done nothing. But the Jace play still keeps the Bitter Triumph open. Yeah, now they still have 3 open, too. So Jace is a goner. It essentially did nothing. Oh! The Celestus. Oh! Well, crap. Then counter on the Bivouac. They're 1 mana short from the Bivouac now, luckily, right? That's pretty bad. That ramp. Oh no, another Breach too. They have 10 cards in the grave. Well, I want to keep removal open for the Restless Bivouac, but at this point, maybe we just draw off the Jace. Jace is likely a goner. Oh crap. Okay. There's a lot of things to think about here, and we don't play around Boros Burn very often, so a little bit different, huh? Okay, mana off the top wouldn't be bad. I think we do need to consider 26 mana in here, guys, unfortunately, because these Breach the Multiverse would have been huge both of these games, and hitting this on time would have been really, really good. All right. So they still have 3 mana open. They could still double down on the Reef. At this point, though, I think we just got to do more, huh? Going to be 17 cards in their grave. Yeah, if they double down and lose 2 cards from their hand for just one of our lands, then at the very least, we might have a couple extra turns then. Arcane Bombardment, they're taking the turn to set up here. We do see more mana, but without the Celestus, the opponent had the perfect target there with the Brotherhood's End, and I completely overlooked that. Okay, so they have... So we have... Yeah, we don't have the -2 on Jace. We have the plus. And that's it. We could power up. Arcane Bombardment's going to be a huge problem here since we're milling them too. We're just stocking up their graveyard. It is a random card though, so I guess the more cards, the better. That's actually pretty funny. Down to 29 cards. Down to 11 too. I guess we could mill them 3 more, since we're expecting the Jace to die next turn anyways. Is that better? I guess if we're expecting the Jace to die anyways, then this is probably better. Because they sink, what, 1 card into it. They got 25 cards remaining. Land off the top would be huge. All this extra spot removal not doing too much against this deck, guys, but it will handle the bivouacs when they decide to start powering those up too. Pass it back. They decide to just go for bombardment on our turn. We saw the mana. I guess it's Breach number 1, right? Creature or Planeswalker, I guess we're going to completely miss the opponents, but milling them 10 cards, and then we do it again next turn too. Yeah, that's probably going to be pretty good. And then Jace, right? Jace from us. I don't even think we want to consider anything else. And then, yeah, nothing in the opponent's grave. I figured we were going to miss based on what they had here. Oh, and then -5. They're at 15. Oh, yeah. Very nice. We got the mill. Well, that works. Man, seeing that mana was essential, huh? Oh, buddy, seeing that mana for the mill on the Breach was essential. Yeah, grabbing Jace back? Actually, that's disgusting, huh? So whenever we see the Breach, if we already have Jace in the grave, or even if we don't, there's a chance of seeing Jace, we can kind of like say, like, okay, well, we have a mill for 25 this turn, or something along those lines. Yeah, 0 cards in the opponent's deck. They're going to go ahead and play it out and see how much damage they can get going with the bombardment. It's going to be a Destroy Evil, unfortunately. They can destroy their own bombardment. A GG opponent. That was pretty good, huh? All right. Do we want to, like, mid-video go up to 26 mana? Is that something we want to do right now? I don't know. I'm thinking about it. No. Maybe... Yeah. I'm going to keep the 25. But, man, that Breach was essential. But also, like, we go so late into the game, too. Like, we don't need 7 on turn 7. Or do we? No, probably not. If we needed 7 on turn 7, we'd have, like, 27 or 28 mana in here. Yeah, we're just going to stick at the 25. Okay, now this is a hand where we actually start with Tinybones. There's a lot to think about, guys. There really is. In these last couple mill decks. Alright. So we'll get the Restless Reef down and go for the Tinybones Joins Up. We'll go ahead and target the opponent. Even though we have nothing that cares about crimes, like the extra mill and everything's going to be good. Would have been much better to see the Tinybones Joins Up before Tinybones, but... You can also select yourself there if you wanted to discard something for some reason. Maybe you're like reanimating or whatnot. Go for the swing. Nothing to pick up with the Tinybones. Yeah, we're going to need to see a little bit more than what's in hand, but... Okay. Get the tap land down. Swing with Tinybones, see if it survives. The Restless Reef totally did a thing in that last game too, huh? A lot of mill. A lot of mill from that. How many times did we power it up? 3 times? Like 12 cards? Wait, how much does it mill? Mill 4 cards, yeah. I think we attacked with it like 3 times in that last game. And 3rd mana from the opponent is a Mirex. Okay, use a white source there. I guess temporary lockdown. Okie dokies. I guess it's not, like, we're not losing too much from the lockdown. Like, some decks that I play just get so completely obliterated by the turn 3 lockdown. But, like, this isn't too bad. Okay, excessive amount of spot removal. Not doing too much here. Can't power up the reef without tapping itself. We pass it on back. We have been seeing a lot more control too, so that's one of those things where this deck might really struggle against control. Yeah, swinging with the land doesn't seem that great. Although we're not swinging into a Wandering Emperor, but as soon as we power it up, they could just go get lost. Okay, we'll get our Demolition Field down. It doesn't feel great not doing anything this turn, too. We could, like, pop the Mirex. Nah, let's risk it, huh? Let's do this. Like, getting a couple, Oh, they have their own Field of Ruin. Well, I am sad now. We'll go ahead and grab a... Let's see, we have a blue source out there. I'll grab another blue source, right? That's totally fine. Oh, although if we would have grabbed a swamp, we would have had the cut down open. So hopefully we won't need that cut down. I was just grabbing based on what we already had on the board. But since it was coming out untapped, that's something to consider. 5th mana from the opponent. And spot removal's not great. Deadly cover up. If this is an agency chief style of build, then Deadly Cover-Up will be pretty good. Okay, double checking. They don't have more Field of Ruin, so luckily we had 2 Restless Reefs. 6 mana on the board. 1 mana away from Breach, and at some point when we get Breach off the top, by the way, we are swinging into a potential Wandering Emperor this turn. Same concept as last turn, dude. I'm not, like... I don't want to play around a ghost here. Okay, get lost. That is 5 mana. Too short from a Breach. But is just like passing back the better choice? Probably not, right? We're not going to have a creature, though, on the board to actually put these map tokens on. Oh, hey, another Restless Reef. All right. Deadly Cover-Up available. Our hand is designed to slow down Mono Red and Boros. So this is going to be an interesting game. We could pop a Mirex. I don't necessarily want to thin out my deck right now, though. Yeah, nothing in hand for what the opponent's playing right now. The double Mirex, if it was just 1 Mirex, then I think we could have considered taking it out now before they start generating too many of these 1/1s. But since they have 2 of them anyways, it just doesn't feel great. Like, Demolition Field would rather hit one of the Restless lands instead. Okay, Memory Deluge, grab what they need. Maybe this temporary lockdown was much better than I thought. Passing it back. They still got 5 cards in hand. Okay, well, we could power up the Reef. We could. Well, we actually got something to play now, though. Familiar Stranger, huh? 1, 2, 3. I don't like how that's tapping. I don't think we're going to use the Demolition Field. I guess that's what they're... I guess that's what they're doing. Yeah, that makes sense. We'll see if it lands first. We do have 3 open to play around in No More Lies, and I think I would pay the 3, actually, if they do that. At that point, Demolition Field open, we could pop a Mirex. Still doesn't feel worth it, does it? I think we just go for those map tokens on the side and see what's on top. Opponent has something? Question mark? They might have a couple decisions, right? Like, they could, 3 steps ahead, and they're going to pay the 5, so they get to draw 2, then discard as well. Okay. Yeah, this is going to be a tricky battle, guys. I'm not 100% certain, because at any point, when we do have enough mana for a breach, and we only have 2 breaches in here anyways, when we do have enough mana, there's going to be a strong chance that it gets countered anyways. But we also don't know what their win condition is, because if their win condition is mill, then I guess, okay, with Deduce, it's got to be like the agency chief then, right? That's probably one of their main win conditions alongside their Planeswalker token generation. Yeah, with Deduce in there making clues, that would make the most sense to me. And then also the Mirex makes sense too, because it generates artifact creatures. I think the card name is Ezram. Ezram Agency Chief, I think so. We do see it in these builds, and it is very, very good. Oh no, they're passing it back. All right. Celestus isn't great. Let's go for the swing. Because here's what happens, guys. If they pick up the Reef right now, then we'll just go ahead and concede and hop into one more game, because I don't think this is going to lean towards us at any point here. I think that we have been officially controlled, and I think you guys would agree with me. March of the Otherworldly Light for 0. Oh man, that feels bad, huh? Hey, good game opponent. It's like I said, I don't... Oh, Memory Deluge for... full power Memory Deluge there. Yeah, let's get one more in. I definitely want to see more games with this, and all of our spot removal not doing anything there. That's going to happen, man. Like I said, we're seeing a lot more control. Luckily there too, I don't think we needed to talk about having 26 mana in that game. So, and if we went up against aggro, would we have survived? Honestly, kind of felt like it. Like, based on that hand and everything, I feel like if we went up against aggro, we had so much early spot removal. The second they reestablished, we had our board wipe there too. I see 2 mana. I'm really on the fence about the 26th mana here. We go first. That's great news. I'm going to go ahead and keep this, and we're going to go right into Tinybones Joins Up. They are different cards. And then next turn, we play our legendary Tinybones. Oh, mirror match? Maybe. Let's get the Underground River down so we have the cut down open. Okay, March of the Wretched Sorrow. They're going to go for their cut down on poor Tinybones. Mill, lose. They milled a island. Is that the Fallout? That is the Fallout Island. Cool. We go Jace. Might get counterspelled. It might. Yeah. What the heck, man? Let's do it. Like, everything today has been epically risky, right?
For the sake of Phyrexia,
we could just go -2, draw a card. I guess so. Let's do it. Oh, shoot the sheriff over there. And a deep cavern bat as well. Mindlink mech. Cool. Wonder what the opponent's playing then. I'm probably going to go... So they probably want to play something to crew, swing Mindlink mech to the second Jace if that's what we end up doing. So keeping like Soaring City open could be good. Cut down doesn't hit the Mind Link mech. So if we go plus, we get to keep Jace around for a turn. Pretty unlikely, I would say. I guess we'll try it. And maybe, unfortunately, crewing up a vehicle. Oh, submit 0. I'm sitting here trying to target the opponent's face. Yeah, we'll keep Soaring City and Cut Down available. Soaring City is 4 mana, so we can't even play the second Tinybones Joins Up. It is legendary, so it replaces itself, but it does get the discard still. Oh, Bloodletter of Acklazotes. Then it copies. Oh, buddy, that gets around the cut down, first of all. So, crewing up the vehicle is instant speed, so this is going to happen, unfortunately. So we're going to bounce the Mind Link mech here before they swing. And at this point, I think they just swing at our face anyways, because that's a ton of damage, because that's a 4-3 still. So it's twice as much, and then twice, that's 16 total. So we will bounce the Mind Link mech. Luckily, these don't have haste, and they tapped down, so that was big tempo for us, right? At this point, that was a good draw, actually. This is pretty good. You have the discard there if we take 1. If it's our turn, if we want to do this. That's not something we need to do. Let's do it. Let's do it like this, right? Just in case I wanted to have that decision to actually do the Tinybones Joins Up on our turn again too. Probably not though. We probably want to save that for if they do end up killing the Jace. Which we're going to go plus here. Either way, we have Cut Down available, which isn't going to hit much. So yeah, I guess that's the turn. I guess Cut Down being a different removal in this... Oh, wait a minute. Bloodletter does die here. Oh, Deep Cavern Bat, though. Alright, it's still a really good... It's still a really good Cut Down play. Yeah, Cut Down works really well with Jace the Perfected Mind, and I almost missed that. Oh, go for the throat. Oh, man, losing our creature sucks. And then they're definitely just going to take the second Jace from our hand here, too. We're going to need to draw really, really well. They have 9 cards in the grave. So Celestus isn't bad. And at this point, with Deep Cavern Bats hitting board, we might still want to just go into the Tinybones. Keeping Jace around an extra turn. We go -2, they swing Deep Cavern Bat, kill it, right? We're just going to go +1 on the Deep Cavern Bat. At least the Mind Link mech is just like doing nothing for them. So playing the second one, I'm still going to keep it in hand. Call me crazy, huh? I think there's a chance that Jace ends up dying and we're going to need to commit a crime another turn or something. Okay, Bloodletter number 2, or number 3, because there's also one in the grave over here too. It's gonna be a problem. Now we can max out the minus on Jace, or we could just go for the draw again too. It's 12 cards if we want to do the maxed out. Outrageous Robbery not doing too much for us here. I think -2 takes a little bit away. At some point, we're going to find removal for the Deep Cavern Bat. Either way, we're going to keep the Outrageous Robbery for 3. My apologies, opponent. Let's take a little bit. We could draw spot removal. We have a lot of spot removal, guys. A lot of spot removal in the deck. More mana is fine, too, because now it's X is 4 for the Outrageous Robbery here. And then it's going to be switching to nighttime, so we get to filter out the Tinybones. If we see... We do not see spot removal, unfortunately. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to keep the land and ditch the Tinybones Joins Up. A lot to think about there, guys. I think Jace is now going to take some pressure off of our face, and the main concept was we could draw Oh, Rush of the Dead. Target opponent loses half their life rounded up. Well, that's not good. What could we do? So we go X is 2 for 4. X is 2. We have 2 open, so we see spot removal off the top. It is not spot removal off the top, but 3 steps ahead would have been really sick, man. Oh no, that looked scary, huh? So we finally got to go up against that combo deck with Bloodletter and Rush of the Dead. That was really sick, opponent. Nice. So there's a lot to think about there. First of all, Outrageous Robbery for 1 would have just hit a land off the top, right? I think the land was milled first. So the thought process there, X is 2. We still have 2 open. We have a chance of seeing like a go for the throat from the opponent and then remove the Bloodletter. So there was a chance, unless like there's a go for the throat there and a shoot the sheriff there. So yeah, I guess technically we could have survived, and we got to see something very noteworthy in that match too that I kind of just forgot about. Yeah, the Jace working beautifully with cut down there. A lot of things to say about this one, man. First of all, I've been saying it the whole video. Do we need 26? Oh, buddy, do we? Do we? Yeah, probably. And I don't know about this underground river. I'm wondering how much this matters. I'm wondering how much like the early game dual land matter in general. I think the tapped land actually ended up working out nicely. Would have been great to actually just see, like, we have so much spot removal. I never get to play with this much spot removal, and it just kind of felt like it wasn't doing anything for us today, unfortunately. This is probably half as much as some people play with, right? And then we also had the Deadly Cover-Up, which Deadly Cover-Up did a really great job against the Denic build there. I could have played that one out so much better, guys. Against that Esper, I wouldn't blame the deck there at all. And then we actually got the mill that one game. Dude, I'm pretty satisfied. I'm not too satisfied with how I ended up playing things, but with how the deck performed, I actually think it was all right overall. So we could probably drop down to 1 Tinybones Joins Up. Seeing the 2 in that game wasn't ideal. We did eventually trade the other one out to the Celestus. Then also you could still keep it in your hand if you don't see like an extra legendary and you still need to commit a crime. You could just play the second one anyways. Target opponent discards that card. I think that would be fine. But you know what else would have been pretty good in here probably? For the life of me, I can't remember. It's Duress. Duress. Yes, maybe one of. That commits a crime. I feel like there was a lot of moments where we could have hit really good things from the opponents today. Definitely just something to consider. I'm not going to personally change the deck list for the Duress. I'm just going to bring that up as like, yeah, definitely something to consider. We got 2 mill videos 2 days in a row, and we got the mill in both of those videos, so that was awesome. Now, it's too bad we couldn't get the win rate up a little bit, maybe multiple mills in one video. That could have been cool, but I do think a lot of that does come down to me and just not being able to pilot these decks very well. More practice with mill lists, I guess, could help. More practice with these obscure cards that I don't get to play with very often could help as well. Learning how to play Magic the Gathering a little better, that could help as well, right? So I do want to change something. I don't entirely know what to change right now. I definitely, first of all, I rearranged it. I'm getting confused at what I'm looking at. So first of all, the 4 Jace and the 4 Desperados, I think are going to be very excellent. You're going for the mill strategy. I think 4 of these, that's going to be the first thing. Then the rest of the deck comes after. A lot of this deck is based on survival. So we got a whole bunch of spot removal that I usually don't play with outside of burn lists, of course, right? Because the burn doubles as spot removal. So as far as the rest of the list, I still, yep, the 1 Celestus, I like it. I like it. The double breach, I like it. Yep, keep that. I think that's great. Outrageous Robbery. Down to 1. How good was this today? Not very. It could have done a thing, but it didn't do the thing. And how often is it going to do the thing? Probably not very often. Often enough for 1? Yes, I think so. Let's drop that to 1. Okay. Okay, Tinybones Joins Up. Yeah, so we can drop that to 1. All right, we're making progress, huh? Gotta change it up somewhere, and yeah, it definitely felt like it needed changed somewhere. I just don't entirely know where. Excessive amount of islands. Yes, I think more dual lands is going to be a little bit better. And then is it a couple more underground rivers? Or is it just more tap land? Or is it early tap land? Or early dual land? That's going to hold us up more often than not. We're a late game deck that goes past 3 very easily. Surveil, no. It's Shipwreck Marsh, right? I think so. Yeah, changing up the mana base a little bit. It definitely makes things. Yeah, so that's 26, right? So we have decided on 26 mana then. So what else then? We got room for one more card. Is it another cut down? I'm actually pleasantly surprised that I ran into the I want to call it like a little combo here with Jace where you go -3 -0 until the end of your next turn. So you commit a crime on your turn, maybe get the Desperado popping off, right? And then get the creature weak enough to actually get picked up by a cut down on the opponent's turn. I like it. I like it so much. I'm going up the 4th cut down, even though cut down didn't feel like it was doing too much. Maybe I was overlooking some of those Jace plays in another match too that I wasn't even thinking twice about. Yeah, I mean, it's obvious now that I look at it, but I wasn't thinking about that little combo at all. So I like it. Yeah, no, I actually like these changes too. But more often than not, yeah, the Shipwreck Marsh, yeah, your early turns, you're getting your tapped land down. There's a lot of tap lands. If we want to consider like Shipwreck Marsh for like the first 2 turns tap lands too. That's still a lot of untapped sources too, though. And that's what, 12, 14 untapped sources, 12 tap sources or potentially tapped, right? Okay, yeah. So I like the mana base. I like going up the cut down. I like what we dropped. I like everything. Yeah, I think this is a little bit better, right? So taking this list back in and having myself play a little bit better, I think we could totally pull off the mill more often now, right? Yeah, I like the changes. Let me know in the comments. Do you like what I ended up changing here? This is obviously the list that's going to go up on Aether Hub too. Got a lot of cards rotating out relatively soon at some point here. I, for some reason, have not looked it up yet. I keep saying it. I got to look it up. When's rotation? Let me know in the comments too. You know, just in case I get the wrong info. I'm pretty sure it's August, but don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% certain. We're going to be losing a lot of cards. Shipwreck Marsh, we just added 4 of these to the list. We're going to be losing those in just a few months here. Celestus, yeah, same concept. It's going to be another one of those instances. Actually, a lot of the other stuff is new, isn't it? Huh. All right. Oh, Soaring City and Abandoned Mire too. It's actually just some of like the mana stuff and the mana rock, which we could always trade out for a different mana rock. At that point, I don't know what kind of ramp you would want to add because Celestus is just so good and the life gain goes the extra mile and the filtering goes the extra mile too. So I don't know what replaces Celestus yet, but obviously Shipwreck Marsh, you just add a different dual land and hope that it works. But we opted for the Marsh right now because I just think that that's going to be much better just based on the games that we played and everything. All right, guys. Also, we didn't get to cast anything on Tinybones, so that makes me a little sad, but that's okay. It kind of felt like the decks we were going up against, there weren't many creatures to, or it does say non-land permanent specifically, but there weren't too many non-land permanents that we could have casted back anyway, so I'm still pretty satisfied that we got that mill regardless. Hey, you made it this far into the video. For real, y'all are champions. I super duper appreciate you. Make sure you check out that description where we got that Discord link as well as that Patreon link too if you're interested in supporting the channel that way. And I will see you in the next video.